Great.
So,
That's so helpful.
yeah.
You know, one of them that I thought was interesting was the one where they were in Scandinavia, or, you know, there was something that you wrote about.
The Runes Beyond the Edge?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Runes Beyond the Edge, the one with the orange cover, is about 14th century Minnesota.
Oh, really?
It's about the Kensington runestone.
Oh, my goodness.
And in that story, which was written for young adults anywhere from about 12 to 18, I would guess, in that story, the main character, whose name is Harold Bjornsson, goes with his father from Norway on an expedition because the Scandinavians sent a lot of expeditions to North America. We know about Vinland, but we don't always know that they came all the way inland to the Detroit Lakes area. And so Harold has this adventure, and he meets some Native Americans, and almost does not make it back to Norway.
Oh, well, thank you.
So that was actually my medieval background coming in.
Oh, that's great. You,
Yeah.
you combined it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about reading for the public? I'm asking because we're going to be showing something that where you were reading for the public at Excelsior in the bookstore. And I was just wondering how you felt about that. And I wanted to alert our audience that there'll be a film of you reading on the end of this program. So do you think it helps?
Oh, I think it helps. I always enjoy it. It's sometimes a little difficult to select what you're going to read because you have to realize what your audience is going to be.
Oh, true.
And so that means that takes maybe a little bit of thought.
Okay. Well, Laurel, thank you so much for coming and sharing some of your stories and sharing writing with us. I think it's going to be very helpful, and I appreciate the fact that you came.
Well, I've enjoyed it very much, and thank you, Laurie. Hello, my name is Laurel Means, but tonight I'm not reading as Laurel Means. I'm reading under my pseudonym, Madeline Guyette. And I'm reading from the first in a spiritual series. This one is called Naomi of the Plains. All of my novels are about Pioneer, Minnesota. This novel takes place in 1875. The subtext is two Bible stories. One, the book of Job, in which the devil, Satan, goads God into sending a whole bunch of tests to Job. The second one is the book of Ruth, in which, as you may remember, Ruth follows her husband to the land of Moab. And the heroine of this story, Naomi, imagines herself as a kind of pioneer Naomi, following a very difficult journey. In this case, she is left alone with her ailing mother. Her father is in the Dakotas on a hunting expedition. They have had no word from him, and they're very worried. She's just finished reading from the book of Job. With another sigh, deeper and more resigned, she laid the ribbon bookmark across the page, closed the book, and set it back down under the oil lamp. Just as she rose to go back to the kitchen to see about something to eat, although she was scarcely hungry, she again heard the distinct whinny, the whinny of a horse in the lane. "Jacob, he's come. Now what am I going to say to him about tomorrow? How will he take it?" Another whinny, then heavy, shuffling footsteps across the porch. A tremor went through her, and she glanced at the newly bolted door. It was not Jacob out there. It was the stranger come back. "Ho, you in there!" A deep, husky, threatening kind of voice. The silhouette of a tall figure filled the front window beside the door. He was looking in on her through the thin lace curtain. A threatening knock, then another, then the door being tried. "Oh, Lord," she prayed aloud, "please help me to know what to do. Please protect me. Oh, the Lord is my shepherd." The rest wouldn't come. In that instant, she remembered what she'd been reading about Job. Satan running through the earth and going back and forth. Could it be he out there? What should she do? What could she do? A heavy fist pounded against the door. The latch was being tried again. His weight was then thrown against the door. He was not giving up. She was going to have to meet whoever it was face to face. "Naomi Beckman." The voice was deep, almost a growl. "Naomi Beckman." My name. Satan knows people's names. He knew Job's name. "What is it?" she called through the door, her voice unsteady. An unexpected need arose, irrationally it seemed, not for her father, but rather for Jacob to be there. "Naomi Beckman." A shout this time, hollow sounding, insistent. "What do you want?" Her voice was so unsteady that she wondered whether he could even hear it. "Who is it?" She managed to whisper, waiting, not knowing what to expect, yet afraid of an answer. "Open." "What is it? Tell me what you want." There was no answer, only the sound of the wind picking up outside and the brittle, rasping sound of leaves being driven into eddies around the corners of the house and the base of trees. "I've got to face him," she said aloud, in determined resolve. "I've simply got to find out what he wants of me." She placed her hand on the deadbolt. The latch would be next. "Wait," she called out. "I'm coming." There was some unidentifiable movement beyond the door that made her hesitate. After another moment of anxious waiting, another strange sound made her look down at her feet. A folded slip of paper was being pushed under the door, slowly, deliberately, until it stopped against the toe of her right shoe. Cautiously, Naomi took it by the edge, terrified that she might see the person's fingers reach under the crack in the door. In her imagination, skeletal fingers grasping hers and refusing to let them go. But the paper slipped out easily, and she picked it up, then brought it closer to the lamp. It seemed strange that it would look like the kind of paper her father used to make calculations on, regarding the number of bushels of potatoes the crop yielded, and how much he could get for them from Mr. Hanson's store. Unfolding it carefully, her emotions mixed as she thought of the stranger and her father within the same set of images. She spread the small sheet out under the lamp. Her first impression was that it was in her father's handwriting, yet the more she looked at it, the less sure she became. It seemed different. It seemed different from her father's handwriting. Some of the letters were shaky, not in the straight lines he usually made. She read the 5 words carefully, going back over them several times. "Come at once with a wagon. Come at once with a wagon." These were followed simply by a scrawled B.J. Fargo, Sheriff, and no further explanation and no date. "What does it mean, come with a wagon?" she said through the closed door, assuming the stranger must still be standing outside, waiting for an answer. "And all the way to Fargo? That's, don't know how far. maybe at least 2 days' journey. There was no response. Tell me, what's the wagon for? Why are my father's initials backwards? Why the Fargo office? Is my father in trouble? And why me? Is this some sort of a trick or a test? Who are you? The words came back to her. Satan walking up and down on the earth. Because he still gave no answer, there was nothing to do but confront him directly. She needed some answers. How could she be sure it was really from her father? How did this stranger find her? The thought crossed her mind that it might be a trick. Wasn't Satan supposed to be very clever? Wait, she called. Wait! Momentarily forgetting all about fear and caution, she slid back the brass bolt, pushed up the latch, and opened the door. There was no sign of the stranger or his horse. There was no sound except a sharp whistling in the great bur oaks guarding the lane. He had disappeared as quickly and as silently as he had come.